Witness Notes 15, Cercal, Portugal, February 2021. After you have read these introductory paragraphs once, you can skip to the new old content here. If you are listening, then the timestamp is around the 2-minute 45-second mark. Introduction. The word settle to me carries connotations I am keen to avoid. I have never felt settled, or perhaps I cannot recall a time I felt settled. I do not feel settled now, writing this, and I've lived in the same house for 3.5 years. Without even discussing the obvious issues of colonisation, I just don't feel like I could or should settle. Better to keep my constituent parts shook up, agitated perhaps, rather than separated and stagnant. Instead, I feel as though I have been travelling for years, maybe because I have not lived in my home nation of Scotland for 8.5 years. Perhaps because I know I won't stay here forever, or maybe because I carry that concept of home in a way which differs from many. More precisely, I still think of myself as a slow traveller, globally feral. Recently, I've been revisiting places through the photographs and words I recorded when my feet crossed their soil. This is a way of reminding myself of where I have been, not just in space and time, but in mind too. It is a wonderful thing to come out of below and rediscover myself through words I crafted, through the lens of a camera, when memory has wandered in the fog for too long. Thank you, past me. When I first started sharing letters with the world in this fashion 6 or more years ago, I usually began them with a vignette of where I was, a sort of travel diary mixed with nature observation, locking in the setting for the reader before I spoke of other things, and by so doing ensuring that place fed into the whole. It was a useful device for a reader and myself both, but as these letters were sent to so few readers, and now languish archived behind a paywall, I thought it a shame not to share these snippets again. As such, I am going to share a short series of these sketches accompanied by a photograph from that time, sent to you in date order, beginning with the second eldest. I shall include the above paragraphs in each of the letters in this series, but I shall also include a link at the very start so you can skip ahead once you are familiar with the above words. If you are listening and similarly want to skip, then the timestamp you want to navigate to will be in the same place. Taken without these paragraphs, each is a short read, and I hope you enjoy them. Cercal, Portugal, February 2021. There are worlds within worlds, but closer and you will see. Here in the Alentejo, it is the season of rain, heavy, insistent Atlantic rain, or fine, cloud-like cover blanketing all in moisture, swaddling in grey. Ridgelines vanish to reappear as suggestions, trees as spectres, and the woods mere hints. When they do appear, these ancient hillsides are clad entirely in emerald. Gone is any vestige of brown, any trace of the bleaching of the long hot summer. Instead, all things grow fast, from grass to trees, mould to citrus, and lambs to calves. They are all flourishing. The rain, coupled with winter bus schedules and lockdown routines, means there is little chance to enjoy the outdoors as I would like. The trails around here are fantastic for walking and cycling, but in this weather their unpaved nature makes both activities a sticky but slippy disaster waiting to happen. The apartment becomes a vessel on a sea of rain and green, sheets of water passing by when they do not seep through the concrete and tiles. Yet there is much to see if only you look. The storks are back, a war from the best nests underway, with much clattering, swooping, and delicate battle. To gain territory is one thing, to hold it in this weather another. The present victors are miserable, sodden and bedraggled birds heads down, feathers drooping and dripping. Beneath, the ground is strewn with the fallen cannonballs of oranges, some already green or white with mould, others fresh and tempting. There is so much fruit just falling and rolling down the streets and lanes like so many escaped balls. The bird song is gaining in intensity, with the blackbird, the blackcap, and something I do not know currently the most vocal. They are joined by others, occasional voices adding to the chorus, sometimes startlingly so, a strange new song trilling through the window, but nothing to be seen in the grove below. It will not be long before the first migrants reappear, depending on what is going on in Africa, the winds and the rains, and the outlook for the coming season. Perhaps some of them are already here. Look closer, and other worlds are present too. The rooftops here are nearly all covered in orange tiles, which fade with age, slipping into burnt ochres and deeper brown reds. Even as the clay ages, the tiles gain other colours, the greens, greys, oranges, yellows, and startling whites of moss and lichen. Cloaking and coating, spreading and demonstrating the cleanliness of this air, some of the best in the world. The irony that outside the air pollution index is at 0, but inside the constant battle against the spores and spreading black mould means that on days we cannot open the windows, the air just feels wrong, is not lost on me. The very damp and freshness which brings this welcome breathability means the mould flourishes. The lichens here remind me that despite lockdown, despite the inability to get out, there is much to learn, much to observe. These are tough colonizers, withstanding pouring rain and big temperature fluctuations. I dread to think how hot those tiles get on a sunny summer's day. Yet they are also a wonderful indicator of the health of the air. Pollution will kill many of them. Across this microflora ranges microfauna. The insect life here is rich, and there are times I wish I could take the time to observe this more, to take macro shots of the beetles, the flies, the bees, and all the other tiny crawling and flying things. Entire epics can be imagined, tales of these tiny worlds, of their dangers and their viewpoints. Yesterday I saw a thing. I do not know what it was, but it was thin and brightly striped with reds, black, and yellow. No longer than my little fingernail, it sat on the wall outside as I made tea, and then it was gone. Then I noticed the first mosquito of the year, sitting on the kitchen window, staring in, seemingly looking longingly at me. So I like to imagine, and imagine I do, for stories tie all this together. If you look hard enough, you will see nature staring back everywhere. Finally, if you can afford to, there are currently 2 direct ways to support my work here. The first is to take out a paid subscription. The second way to support me here is to use my Ko-fi button link to send a tip of any amount. If you enjoyed this letter and wish to share it with others, please do so. I love it when someone shares my work. I also love it when you comment on a piece, really, really love it. Although I always read and appreciate these comments, during 2025 I was not as good at responding as quickly as I would like, but seeing as my word of the year for 2026 is communication, I like to think that will soon change. Finally, many thanks for reading. I truly appreciate each and every one of you who does.